Hey guys, today's story is going to take us to Pripyat. This is an abandoned city within the Chernobyl exclusion zone that was evacuated shortly after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. But to put it simply, this place is toxic. It is one of the most radioactive places on Earth and has been off limits to humans ever since. But that is until now, because recently an elite group of urban explorers got special permission from the government to enter into this ghost town. The Ukrainian government only allows small groups of researchers into the exclusion zone at a time, and they have to stay with a guide at all times. You can't just walk around the exclusion zone whenever you want. And if you do anything without your guide, you could be arrested. So these urban explorers were told that they would be allowed 30 minutes in the city. They could walk around and take photos and videos, but they weren't allowed to pick anything up or leave the main road. So that's what they did. They arrived in Pripyat, walked down the deserted streets, and eventually came across a church. Now, according to legend, this church was quarantined when Pripyat was evacuated. That means that no one has entered into it since 1986. These urban explorers thought it would be a great idea to go inside. And although they didn't know it at the time, they would soon regret it. As they opened the door and stepped inside, they realized that the locals were right. Everything inside the church was completely untouched since 1986. Books were on the shelves, chairs were in the pews, and even some clothes were hanging in the closet like the priest had just left the room. But it wasn't just the fact that the place was still intact that was so creepy. In fact, there was something far creepier inside the church. These explorers found a massive bell tower. Now, these things are usually really cool, but this one was different. See, the bell inside this tower was the only thing that wasn't intact. The bell had been dropped and broken into several pieces. One of the explorers said that it looked like someone was trying to repair it, like they had run out of time. He said it looked like the last person to touch tried to put the pieces back together with superglue. They started to explore the rest of the church, but then one of them noticed something weird. The floorboard beneath his feet was vibrating. At first, he thought it might be the wind, but the sound was getting louder. Then he felt the floor shake again, and the bell above his head began to ring. He immediately ran outside and looked up. He knew that bell was supposed to be broken. He saw that the bell had somehow repaired itself and was now ringing on its own. Even more bizarre was the fact that it was ringing perfectly. If the bell was broken, how was it ringing? And why did it ring when they were standing directly beneath it? Luckily, one of the explorers had brought a camera along, and they were able to capture what happened next. As they watched, they saw figures walking through the ruined city. The strangest part about it was that these people were dressed exactly like they would have been back in 1986. There were kids playing, couples holding hands, businessmen walking to work, all of them oblivious to the fact that they were walking through a radioactive wasteland. These explorers had never seen anything like it, and they were terrified. They grabbed their stuff and ran away as fast as they could. They didn't dare look back to see what was happening. When they finally stopped running, they caught their breath and reviewed the footage. They saw that they had captured images of the bell repairing itself, and they saw the people walking through the radioactive ruins. But the creepiest part was yet to come. As they continued to watch, they realized that they were actually in the video too. They could see themselves walking through the street with the other people. They could see themselves laughing and talking while unknowingly walking through a nuclear wasteland. In the video, we can see one of the explorers drop his bag. It looks like he bent down to pick it up, but then he stands back up and walks away. Why? Well, because in the video, we can see that there is a massive crater where his bag once was. It is clear that there was an explosion of some kind, and the fact that they did not feel anything is what terrifies me. I don't think that these explorers were truly walking through a time portal. I think that they accidentally triggered something while exploring the exclusion zone, and it caused some kind of radiation to react with their minds. I think that this is why they didn't feel the explosion. The radiation likely scrambled their brains and made them feel nothing. This is why when they checked the radiation levels later, everything was fine. This is also why I believe that there were no people in the video. There were likely no people there at all. What the explorers were seeing was a hallucination. After they returned home, each of them began to experience symptoms of radiation poisoning. One of them even went blind. And that is why this is considered one of the scariest places on Earth. If you think that this story is terrifying, wait until you hear this one. On July 28, 1986, just a few weeks after the Chernobyl disaster, 45 firefighters disappeared. They were working on a top-secret mission to contain the disaster. But before they arrived at the power plant, their bus mysteriously broke down. It was extremely strange because the bus was brand new and had never broken down before. The driver claimed that he had done everything he could, but the engine just wouldn't start. So the men decided to abandon the bus and walk the rest of the way to the power plant. But they were never seen again. Nobody knows what happened to these men, but many believe that they wandered into the wrong area and became trapped by high levels of radiation. Some believe they wandered into the woods and were never found because of the thick forest. But others believe that they vanished into thin air. And it's this mystery that makes the Chernobyl exclusion zone so terrifying. Who knows what secrets are hidden within the woods? In the weeks following the incident, workers at the power plant began to notice mysterious blackouts. At first, they thought that it was due to exhaustion, but it was quickly apparent that something else was happening. Soon, almost every worker at the power plant experienced mysterious blackouts. And when they were interviewed about what happened, they all gave the same answer. They said they saw a bright white light flash before they lost consciousness. Some said that they heard a loud noise, but others said that they were completely silent. And no one knew why it was happening. Some believed that it was the ghosts of the workers who died during the initial explosion. Others believed it was the spirits of the firefighters who disappeared. But the truth remains unknown. There is one thing that all of these stories have in common, though. They all happened at the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which is why it is considered to be one of the scariest places on Earth. There is one place, though, that is even scarier. And if you would like to hear about it, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching. Remember to support the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Did these echoes from the past send shivers down your spine? If so, give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps us unearth more disturbing truths. And to keep venturing into the darkest corners of history and the most haunted locales with us, don't forget to subscribe right now. Every subscriber helps us bring these forgotten fears to light. Until next time, remember, some stories aren't just stories. They're warnings,